So today we have a number of questions, both about some of the really exciting developments from this week and a lot of questions of, can you give us some info of what's to come? But I'll start with this week. You guys introduced the CAROT Coin this week. So could you tell those who don't know what CAROT Coin is, how it benefits the Bobby Rabbit holders?
Who wants to go first? I can do it.
Yeah.
So, all the technological stuff behind the capabilities of it kind of run up Corn Pop's alley. And then, Bobby made a killer logo for the coin for us. So that all, is cool. But when you really get into like coins, I've heard a lot of other projects talk about like tokenomics, and they try to make it sound like rocket science. But at the end of the day, it's really just, it's a vehicle for us to get profits back to the rabbits. At the end of the day, that's all it is really. We can add more functionality to it. There was a conversation about, should we wait to deploy it until it has utility? Because there will be some of those people that are like, wait, I can't like exchange it for real money yet. Like, But at the end of the day, it's like a show of good faith. Like, we've said in our white paper that all the rabbits are going to earn CAROT Coin, every day that you hold them. I didn't feel like it would have been right to not start keeping track of that from day one of royalties, because all these people that like, took the most risk by getting in this project early deserve to, have the biggest CAROT balances. And like at some point, like I can't put a time frame on it because, it's going to depend on a few factors, such as, how much volume we can, you know, put up in terms of, either the cost of the rabbit, the floor price has to go up, or we have to, see more transactions coming through. But that all those royalties, 2.5% of every transaction goes to back, the money that we're feeding back to the rabbits. And then at some point in time, if we're, making money off of merchandise sales or ad revenue from a cartoon or game sales, all that 5, percent of those profits we're going to split. 2.5 goes back to the CAROT and 2.5 goes to fund future projects, just kind of the same mentality of the royalties on NFT sales. So we're trying to make sure that money floods back to the, owners of the rabbits, similar to how a stock dividend works. Maybe until we add like a more complex liquidity to the coin, which is basically just means you can go on an exchange and trade it for Solana or whatever your native currency is. Maybe we'll do it like a stock dividend, like every quarter, every 3 months. We might open it up and allow people to like send us CAROT Coin, and we'll send them the equivalent amount of Solana. We separated it into that. We have, multiple wallets. One wallet is specifically for the CAROT Coin. That's what backs the coin. It's kind of like, the gold standard on the US dollar. Like, we're not going to just like blow smoke up your butt and tell you like, yeah, this CAROT is worth something when it's not. That there's money behind it. We put Solana into a special wallet as to not, mix those funds in with other funds and get it all confused. Like there's a wallet specifically for, the royalties that have been earmarked for everybody here. And we're putting that money in that, and we're going to be transparent about it. And the coins are just a representation of your share of that pot. And, as a community, we'll figure out, how and when to let you guys use that to swap for real money. And the last thing I'll say on it is there are some other utilities we can use it for. I mean, we can, allow the CAROT token to be used to mint future NFT projects, either that we're associated with or, derivatives of Bobby Rabbits. We can use it in our own merchandise store. We can use the CAROT Coin in our own ecosystem as our own type of cryptocurrency that works well within our ecosystem. But, the way that I viewed it personally, and this is, my opinion, is that it's a good representation of like what we owe everybody here in terms of like interest and dividends, because, the royalties belong to you guys as well.
I love that. Do Bobby or Corn Pop, do either of you have anything you want to supplement that with?
I'll let Tyler go ahead. These guys are the math teachers. No, I'm not. I'm the art department.
I don't
Or,
I don't think I really have too much to add to that. Brian did a good job of explaining kind of the goal of the Carrot Coin. And also, I just wanted to touch on, because we want this to be a community driven project, there are decisions that are going to be made, even in relation to the Carrot Coin, that are not going to be just our call. They're going to be the call of the entire community, the entire holder community, which is why verification is so important, which is why getting this structured in kind of a DAO way. I mean, it won't be autonomous super quickly. It's not a quick process, but we will utilize the fundamental ideals of an autonomous organization, where you guys get a say basically at the same rate we do. I mean, when it comes to that point. Um, Also, the whole thing of providing liquidity, it's an expensive endeavor at this point to set up an exchange for that, and we thought the best use of that money was to let it just sit and accrue royalties from our sales, than to use it to give you the 6 cents for each rabbit so far. To me, and I think to a lot of people, that's a better use of the money, or a better way to um, use that. I guess it's not using the money, or a better way to not use the money is to let it sit and let it build until it has a real solid backing. And then, as a community, as an organization, we can decide, hey, liquidity is important to enough of us. Let's either spend the money to set up an exchange, or we can build our own sort of internal exchange, so to say, where you just exchange for SOL, versus where adding an exchange and a liquidity pool um, on an exchange like Serum would be tradable for like USD, or the pound or the euro, or any other currencies that you might want to use.
yeah, I think Tyler brings up a good point in just the cost perspective. I mean, that's probably one of the things that's gained us respect in this space, is that we're not just like wasting money and throwing money at stuff just because it looks cool and other people are doing it. Like, every decision we've made has been from a business perspective. Like, you know, like you said, there's like a fixed cost to doing this. And, if we spent the money to make the Carrot Coin liquid now, there wouldn't have been anything left for you to have. We would have wasted all of the money that belongs to you guys just to set up something so you can, it doesn't make any sense that way. So, we're going to let it accrue to a point where, when we do build the exchange, it doesn't hardly even put a dent in like your royalties. Like, we don't have to take money out of your pocket. Like you said, right now the Carrot Coin's worth 6 cents each, and y'all have 7 per rabbit. So we're not gonna we're not gonna use every cent that's in there to build the exchange. We're gonna wait until it makes sense to do it. Again, everybody's gonna have a vote in it, so like if y'all voted like tomorrow, like we all want our money now, like we'd have to oblige. But at the same time, like that's why we have these spaces, so we can talk about it and try to explain our logic and do the right thing, because the more educated everybody is about the decisions we have to make, I think this wiser decisions will be made.
That makes a whole lot of sense to me. Thank you for sharing that. I think it also brings up some questions we have, which, in all honesty, after hearing this, maybe you don't have the answer since there is so much community say. But we did have a listener ask, what can holders expect next? So I know we want staking, but do you foresee any changes to the merch like was discussed in the recent chat? Or perhaps another airdrop? Anything, any input there?
I think Tyler can speak to the staking, kind of like how, like what that is, how it works. Bobby definitely could speak to his ideas on merch over there in the arts department. And then, yeah, I'll let them handle those two.
Sure. Very quickly, because it's not a hugely complex topic. Most of you have seen staking in some form or another. That's a possibility for the distribution of the Carrot Coin. So this first distribution was an airdrop, which basically meant we took a snapshot of all the holders at a very specific time and then wrote a program to send them all out to you. Um, and and that's doable. Again, we can stay that course, or we can do kind of a neat other feature that kind of inspires people to hold and not sell their NFT, which is kind of what staking does. But basically, you would go to our staking site and you would press a button to lock up your NFT in a vault, which is basically just a protected wallet. And that for that, you would be paid out your CAROT coin, accruing at 1 coin per rabbit you have staked per day. Um, so that's an easy way to both distribute them and to incentivize not listing and not selling for cheap and things like that, while we build the real utility and the real business structure and revenue generating um, foundations for this entire brand. So that's really it for staking, and that's an option. It's one I really like, but again, community will have a definite say in the route we take. Airdropping is a possibility as well.
Yeah, it's just to go off of on the second part of that question about the merch. We did a our first community poll recently with, I think that was kind of like our test run to see how people react to some of the decisions that they, that's important for them to make. And it seems that everybody really appreciates that the merch is available to the public, so it's not necessarily um, members only. But there's also another side to that coin where it would be nice to have some type of merch that is only available to holders, kind of making it unique, which is pretty cool. I like that idea. I think that's a really sweet idea, which isn't really, I mean, it doesn't really matter what I think because the vote is for the community. So you just got to follow through. But I think that that's a really good suggestion that someone had made. And I can't wait for that to happen. So I think we also discussed, with CAROT Coin, depending on the success of it, I think you'll eventually, we might be able to accept the CAROT Coin in return for merch. So there might not just be clothes, apparel in a merch store. There might be more solid items like skate decks, tumblers, um, other things that we can get our hands on and slap our brand on it. I think that would be great for the community. I don't think they would hate that they can get our Bobby Rabbits on a coffee mug. Anything that we can do, I think is just best for the community. So yeah, I'm excited moving forward with the merch now that I have a really solid idea of what the community wants as far as like making it exclusive. I think it's kind of cool to have like some type of badge of honor showing you as a holder. So I think the merch is going to go in a cool direction. I think I'm looking forward to that. I'm also open to opinions and ideas too. So you guys want to see something that you would like to be done, or have an idea of what you would like to have that is a sort of badge of honor. Could we? Someone had mentioned the using the CAROT coin symbol. Somebody I think mentioned something else. There's like a few other ideas out there I think are pretty cool. So yeah, I think we'll figure it out. But I think the merch thing is moving forward is going to be pretty cool because yeah, being exclusive and having the public have access to it, I think it benefits the community in all sorts of ways. So I think it's cool.
And I think both of those things kind of go back to cost a little bit too, which is why, to reiterate, it's important that we get as many people as possible that own rabbits to actually go ahead and verify so that they can participate. Because as we kind of, close in on a number that's, a majority of the wallets holding rabbits are verified and have, and will participate in votes, we'll be able to start, letting people vote on how we're going to spend this treasury money. So, I think after Thursday, when we have, a lot more exposure, thanks to the DazedDucks, allowing us to, host a chat with them and some other things, as we start to build up some money in our, projects wallet and treasury and all that stuff, we're going to, start to have discussions with you guys about how we're going to spend that. So, for example, it might be too expensive to develop a, virtual reality Oculus game right now, but, we could invest that money in, switching our merch vendor, because right now there's not a very good profit margin on that. Like, they print to order and we didn't have to like pay them up front for it. So it was a good, way for us to get our brand out there into the world right now. But from like a business perspective, it might make sense for us to, shop around and find a vendor where, we pay for the inventory and, increase like the amount of money we're making off of each sale, and add things like tumblers and skate decks, like Bobby mentioned. And, we might, invest our money into merch and gear, and use the money made from that to be able to, to fund the Oculus project. So I think it's important that we have everybody verified, so we can have those conversations in the verified channels and start to look at, what order are we going to invest our assets to get the best result. And the final thing that you had asked was about airdrops and, the giveaways and stuff like that. We want to be able to show, the community some love. So, we are brainstorming that all the time. I would love if anybody has suggestions about, cool giveaways, feel free to throw them out there in the Discord. Right now, we've got, a skate deck that Bobby hand painted that looks super cool, that we're gonna, after this call, there is a process. We have to take a snapshot of the wallets. A lot of this is done manually, and thanks to Corn Pop, like, we have this capability to do it, very, without blowing money, like, paying someone else to like build all this crazy stuff for us. But, he puts a lot of work in on the back end, and has a way that, we can pull a random wallet that owns a rabbit. And, we'll announce that giveaway later tonight. And then before the end of this call, I picked a random rabbit that we own, and painted it. So it's not Bobby's painting, but one of the co-founders of Bobby Rabbit's painted something for y'all. So, I put some pictures of that in the Discord, and I'll announce somebody, and we'll send them the NFT, and then I'll get your address and mail you the painting. So that will be kind of cool. But yeah, I love doing the giveaways and stuff. It's like one of my favorite parts right now.
I think that's awesome. I know I love all the giveaways and get really excited about it. It kind of brings up another question that was asked, which is there a way we could potentially reward active holders that are helpful and active in the Discord and on socials? I know that uh, in addition to that, some people have been wondering, we're kind of a small community in comparison to other NFT projects. So is there a way to put those things together and help grow the community that you have in mind?
Totally. I mean, I'm glad to see, there's a couple people on here in the community that we're, going to bring onto the call shortly, I believe. And, that was it's in the white paper. It's one of the things that we always wanted to do was, we kind of envisioned building this, self-sustaining community and ecosystem where, like, everybody here has, like, they bring their own stuff to the table. There's a lot of really cool talent in here. Like, the community artwork thread was like a really cool thing that happened when we put this together that was unexpected. And, there's people in here that, bring stuff to the table, and we want to, reward them. Like, I mean, take Corn Pop, for example. He started out just kind of finding our thread, and now he, is like a co-founder, basically. He helped us get this thing minted, and we want to be able to do that to other people too. Like, this time next year, I don't want it to look like there's like 3 co-founders and then everybody else is, just here. Like, I want this to, like, everybody in the community has a role. And that's what Corn Pop talked about earlier when he said it's going to take a while for this to be an autonomous organization. Like, that's what a DAO is. It's decentralized, it's autonomous, but we're an organization, and, we build stuff with like a common goal. But, I kind of, ironic, this is funny, but, I got sober a couple years ago, and I had to go to a lot of like AA meetings, and the way that they structure it is like similar. Like, there's no one person in charge of that, but they do have committees, and they have, you know, people that are essentially like, they volunteer their time to like serve the community. So we wanted to incorporate that aspect, but also be able to pay people. So, that's kind of what our treasury funds are for. Like those project funds, we could go out and hire some third party developer for a game and pay them a lot of money. Or we could put that money into the pockets of our own people by hiring people from within the community and enriching them and putting their skills on display and elevating their career and their capabilities. So I kind of always envisioned doing that. Like I would rather, hire within our community for projects. And in order to do that, one of the things I wanted to be able to do is like start putting together committees for people that specialize in different areas. So I don't want to get too far ahead of the conversation, but there was a discussion in the holders chat earlier about we've got some folks in here that are, you know, they've got design experience, and they know their way around some 3D technology, and so we want to put together like a 3D committee, that will be in charge of leading the discussion on what the capabilities are. They might be able to advise on the best way we could go about creating 3D assets that could be used in gaming, or even just like 30-second clips for, marketing purposes. So, we're going to start by kind of having these like service positions where people can become a part of a committee within the Bobby Rabbits community. And then through those committees, we will be able to identify, you know, ways that we can straight up pay people to do projects for us, and that will all be voted on. But there's kind of an order to it. Like we need to understand what the capabilities and the possibilities are first, and then once we have that knowledge, and there's like a community within our community that has a good understanding of this, there will be a proposal of this is what we want to do, and we'll figure out how we can compensate them. And just we want to make sure everybody, it's a fair deal for everybody, but at the same time like lean on our own community, because there's a lot of really good resources here and a lot of talent and a lot of people that we want to be able to elevate their careers as well.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I know we have some people on the call who I'd love to be able to bring in and hear a little bit more about their experience, because earlier today we had a discussion about 3D rendering, and I know both Rollo and Skyblack have experience here. So if either are available to tell us a little bit more about their own experiences and potentially some ideas they have with 3D rendering that can be used for Bobby Rabbits, I would love to hear it, and I know lots of other community members would as well.
Yeah, I think I just sent you guys like permissions to speak, so feel free to pop up. There comes Rollo. So yeah, feel free to. I would love to hear from you guys, like what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, for sure. Hey guys, that was a fun conversation we had today, and for sure, I'm not an expert. Just like you guys, you all came together and showed your skills, and look what you built. So, just trying to follow in your footsteps, and yeah, what like the community wants. I think we can even vote on 3D. Have a couple of ideas, render those out, and then before we fully push down on the gas, we can vote and go in a direction that the community wants to go in. So yeah, I'm just here for the ride. If you guys have any questions though, like specific 3D questions, I'll try and answer. And yeah, collaborating with other artists here, I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I was really excited to see that this morning. We have all these different channels. There's like the community artwork channel, and at one point in time we had like promote yourself, but then that turned into like a shill channel. So we had to kind of like navigate that and separate it. But like the ultimate goal was to be able to, bring the community together in a way that, like this is like you said, like I don't think any of us were experts in like the NFT space. Like a lot of us are just trying to like, put our skills to use in a way that like a corporation kind of handicaps people in doing. like when I worked at E-Trade, my hands were tied 99% of the time. There's severe limitations on like what I could use my skills for. But that's kind of the fun part about this whole DAO thing, is that like, it's a new flexible opportunity where we can all just like put our passions to use. And so it's cool that, you guys have some experience in 3D rendering and can, lead that conversation, because that's not my area. Like Bobby's kind of taken, we joke about the art department, but he literally does all the kinds of crazy stuff, drawing up, entire scenes that we can use for marketing and potential like ideas for cartoons. And Corn Pop constantly is dropping bots that I didn't even know could be built. He built us a soul bot. He he builds these programs like it's nothing to be able to make our lives a million times easier. And so the fact that we have all these people that are bringing their skill sets to the table, and we're doing it because we enjoy doing it, is kind of like the mecca of what this should be all about, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I think it's pretty awesome to see. Yeah, it's kind of like we want to. I don't know I'm pretty sure you guys get it at this point, but me and Brian since the beginning, like, have been super encouraging to um, get people involved as much as possible. And he was the one that really wanted to make this DAO really work. And I had to learn from him, and I had to understand what exactly he meant by that. And it's pretty fascinating. Like, everybody basically, we're all equal and we all have a vote. As long as you're in the Discord and you keep yourself informed, your vote really does matter, especially now more than ever. These small little details that we're making decisions on in the beginning, for example, like the poll we just did with the apparel. Like, you guys are going to, the ones that are here right now, although we're small, but these decisions are going to reflect the future. So everything that you guys vote on right now today is going to have a huge impact in the next 5 years, because you guys are going to be the ones to set the standard as, okay, we have, one of one apparel only for OG holders. This is why it's been like this, because back when we did the beginning of the votes, like, this is where it came from. It's all gonna be ledgered, basically. Like, it's all gonna be written down. It's all gonna be recorded, and it's all because you guys are a part of this more than I hope you guys understand. Like, more than you think. Like, this is run by you. And like, thank God that Tyler was the one that also was kind of like, took initiative and was like, hey, I can do this for you. I can help you guys out. Like, let me show you this. Let me show you, especially, him teaming up with Brian and stuff before, getting our candy machines ready and stuff. Like, I just hope that shows you like what kind of team that we are, that we genuinely mean that you guys matter. Like, this project is nothing without the people that take, part in it. So yeah, I like that, what Brian and I had come into, like, together with that same mentality of like, okay, yeah, let's do this project. And also too, I think I remember in the very beginning, like when I was tweeting out from the Bobby Rabbit's Twitter, like, what do NFT collectors like the most about their community, or what would they like to see more about their community do? And someone had gave me like a really good explanation about using a DAO, and it was still super brand new at the time, where like it wasn't very common to hear about that. I mean, it still isn't as common, but it's getting thrown around a little bit more and more these days with current projects. But when that guy had said that, it's true. It's like, okay, like, we're basically investing into this project, and you guys are making decisions that the community doesn't ultimately agree with, and you're kind of messing with the community's money at that point. If you're investing a lot of money, or even a little bit, it shouldn't matter, but your vote should matter. Like, you should be worried and concerned where your company, where your project, where your NFT space or community is going, because that's your money. So where we're going is all going to be dependent on our community and what they want and what you guys want. And the three of us are here just to lead the way as far as, okay, I got to do this because this is what they want and I got to do that. Like this, that helps us, you know? We obviously need a team and we need a structure, but you guys are the ones that are pretty much running the show. So, yeah, I really like that what Brian has brought into the table, and what I truly believe, and what Tyler has become like a super great example of, and he doesn't hate us, so that should say a lot. I mean, at
Yeah.
least I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I can
So,
speak for everyone here, and like we all appreciate you guys being so transparent and like hardworking. I think that's awesome.
yeah, thank you guys. I
Appreciate
mean,
that.
yeah, we definitely appreciate that. It's super uncommon. I feel like it took me about a year and a half um to meet Brian. You know, I didn't know him before that, but it took me a year and a half to find somebody that had the same enthusiasm and like the same amount of like, you know, genuine interest. It wasn't even like the first conversation that we had about NFTs was literally the definition of community. He told me that. And then, you know, we never even talked about money. Like, to be honest, we never said, "Hey, this will make us a ton of money, like we should do this." Like, it's crazy to me because I feel like most projects seem to be revolving around money. That's where rug pulls happen, right? And that it's like what we were talking about before we started discussing. You know, people get into this as a joke, and the people that are taking it seriously are the buyers. And when they see good art and they see a good roadmap and they don't know who's actually running the show, um, it's crazy to us to see that they actually still buy into it. But that's kind of like it's just like an example of like, yes, people are in this space for money, and that's true. But when me and Brian discussed this project from the beginning, it was literally the first thing we talked about was community. Like, this isn't going to work unless we have community behind us to believe in us and to make this a long-term project. This isn't like a short term. And I think that's also kind of like, I'm hoping that people do understand and recognize that, you know, things take time to build on, and we're building a foundation here. This isn't something that we're gonna like make you guys all super rich overnight, or you know, we're not gonna sit here and BS you guys. But the fact that you guys believe in this project to be here right now and to be listening to us and to take you know, to participate, it's pretty awesome, and I really appreciate you guys for that part as well.
And something quick to add to that, I mean, I strongly believe that there is a nuclear winter coming in the NFT space. Um, and you guys should pay attention to what the articles have to say about this. I'm not worried about it. We're not doing things the way that would make us affected by that. The people who should be worried are the people that the only thing that makes them money is like the current demand for NFTs. That's purely like the only thing they have going for them is like they hopped on this, you know, gravy train, but there's no DAO behind it. There's no business structure. There's no plan. Um, the only way they make money is by making other people want to buy in, which, you know, it's kind of Ponzi scheme like, but you know, we're not that group. That's why we don't really care when people are like, oh well, we only have, you know, 600, 700, whatever people in the Discord. Is that a problem? And it's like, no, not really. I mean, we have like less than 200 wallets that own all 1,000 rabbits. Like, our our ownership is very highly concentrated in the hands of a few people, which is good because we don't want people that are like fair weather fans coming in here and voting and, you know, charting our course. You know, we want you guys to be here. The people that want to participate and become owners, you know, should be the ones making the decisions. Like, you guys are co-owners of Bobby Rabbits. I don't know if that's like something that's understood by all the way that it could be, but like, you guys are co-owners. This isn't like something that this isn't like a painting that you bought in a gallery. Like, you guys are co-owners of this brand, which is huge. And that's why that's how we think. That's why the numbers don't bother me. Like slowdowns, like drops in floor price, that doesn't really all matter to me, because right now my focus is on how can we build cash flow from like actual businesses that are going to survive an NFT winter. you know who the heck cares if there's like a pullback in people wanting to buy NFTs? Like, if you guys are getting profit sharing and cartoons and video games and merchandise sales, like, that's kind of recession proof in my opinion. So we'll see how it plays out. But, you know, expect to start seeing more of that FUD mentality, the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt about the NFT space and crypto and all that, especially with global events that are happening right now. But, you can't avoid that. But we plan for those things. We we don't worry about pullbacks and fluctuations in the market, because that's not how we succeed. We succeed by a community coming together, putting their skills on display, building things in the real world, and the NFT is just a tool to facilitate that activity.
And some
Yeah,
really
and just
cool
to
art.
add to that one more thing, I'm sorry, Tyler, but I just wanted to say, yeah, even if you guys decided like, you know what, Bobby Rabbits suck, I'm cashing out. You know what, dude? I have thousands of rabbits in my computer that these things are gonna sell. I'm gonna make these things sell one way or another. So you better believe that I am not going to sleep at night dreaming of rabbits, and this thing is like taking over my life. That I'm just gonna give up on it. And even if Brian and Tyler decide to ditch me, I'll be pissed off, but I am seriously gonna keep pushing the Bobby Rabbits brand till the wheels fall off, man. Because like I did not put in thousands of hours of work to do these little sketches, learning a new program, buying an Apple Pen that I never had, and like draining the batteries on these things. Yeah, I'm gonna be pushing this thing for a hot minute. So just to let you guys know, like, yeah, talk. So just what Brian had said. If you guys, are afraid to sell or whatever, and that's fine. I mean, I sell my paintings for a good. I feel like I'm pretty generous when I sell my original artwork anyway. Um, because and people tell me all the time, like, wow, bro, like you sell your art for so cheap. You should be selling it for like tens of thousands or whatever. Like, yeah, that's a great compliment and all, but this is what I do for a living. Like I paint, I do art, like I create. So like doing these rabbits, it's not like a chore for me. It's not like, oh my god, I'm sacrificing so much to do it. It's like this is my DNA. Like I'm gonna be doing this for a very long time, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep pushing this brand with or without anybody. I don't know. It's just like I really love what we got here. Yeah, it's small. Yeah, we're a little project that people don't feel comfortable jumping into yet, but I feel that there is going to come a time where people will be saying, "Dang, I heard about these guys last week and just didn't take the leap," which is fine for me. It's fine with us. I think we're okay with that. We're happy with that.
I did have a question about that, since you mentioned, I honestly don't care about the numbers either, but is there a plan? Like, is there, a date with a number assigned to it, or is there like an opportunity to push some marketing maybe in the future when we have enough, money on the side to do that?
I definitely think all options are on the table when it comes to that. What I will tell you, there's no date that I have in mind. Uh, where my focus falls is on what are we going to do today? What are we going to do tomorrow? So, me and Bobby and Corn Pop, we're like constantly talking, in our little three-way text chat about like, where are we at with this? Where are we at with this? So, sometimes I feel bad, like, I'm cracking the whip, or I'm sure they feel this way too, like they're cracking the whip on, we're all cracking the whip on each other, because it's like, for this project to succeed, there's things that we need to do. So I mean, for example, like last week, like I was, busy building connections with the DazedDucks co-founders, and you know looking into potential partnerships. And I was discussing with Gabe Galt, the metaverse painter that is a part of our group. And he knows some people that are involved in Oculus spray paint games. And So I was focused on all that. Bobby was drawing up all this stuff. He spent an entire day drawing a Bobby Rabbit into the DazedDucks scenery so that we could, promote that Twitter Space Thursday. Corn Pop spent God knows how many hours creating the CAROT Coin and deploying it. So we think that as long as we stay focused on doing things that we can do today, then the results will pay us back. So it's kind of a weird philosophy. I hate to go back to the sobriety thing, but it's like another thing that I kind of learned from like having to like work on myself in that regard was like, if you take things like one day at a time, like just to the sober analogy, basically, when I first was doing that, it was like, there was all these days where I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, am I not going to be able to have champagne at my wedding? And then people say, why are you worried about that? That's in like, that could be in 10 years, just focus on doing what you need to do today. So I kind of carried that into my mentality and everything now. And it's like, sometimes I do start to panic and I'm like, oh God, like what if this doesn't work? Or, what if we let the community down? And, at one point our floor price dropped to, I don't even know, like maybe half a soul like a week ago or something. But it did me no good to try to brainstorm ways to get us back to one soul floor. What did help was we were like, well, let's just focus on what we can do to bring value to the community and make this project better. And that was, getting the CAROT Coin deployed, finding good partnerships, things like that. And we did that. And then like magically the floor price came back up. So I think it's important to not like get too caught up in the results but more to stay focused on the activities that we can be doing to build going forward. And I just have faith that the results are going to follow if we do that. So that's kind of my philosophy on that. I don't know if anybody else, has a different perspective on it, which I'm all completely open for. And, again, there will be votes and we do want to use that money to market the brand and things like that. But that's kind of the underlying philosophy that I will carry into that decision-making process.
I'll just touch on that briefly too. I think it can be a slightly dangerous game in the NFT space, especially to get super tied to dates set, especially with the speed at which the NFT market has been growing. Um, this the speed to me has led to a ton of people not understanding what's going on, a ton of scamming, a ton of people losing a lot of money, bubble mentality, all these things with just the haste and setting dates and reaching these like crazy milestones, because there are some projects that have flown off the shelf, right? Like they've, reached 60, 70,000 soul traded in, crazy amounts of times. And that's great. But I also think that sort of thing creates chaos and it creates a certain amount of instability within the NFT community and the market. And that's what leads to people dropping out of projects. When it grows inorganically or too fast, people don't know how to handle that. And that creates such a terrible kind of atmosphere for that project in its own. So for me, and I think Brian and Bobby agree, that to have hard set dates at this point is a little premature, but we are definitely focused on both the future, but as Brian said, doing what we can each day to provide growth and value to the community.
And one other thing that I learned from like being involved in the stock market for so many years was that judgments a lot of times are made based on a snapshot in time. When you take a snapshot a week later, a month later, a year later, you might come up with a totally different judgment. I mean, perfect example. One of the recent rug pulls, when it was first starting to be speculated that it was a rug pull, we hopped over there and just it was kind of it's kind of a rude thing to do, I guess. I almost feel bad about it, but we hopped in there and just kind of were like, hey guys, like, you have a really good community. I'm sorry you got rugged, but come check out our project. And some dude, like, probably rightfully so, got pissed off and was, just trashing our project. At the time, we had like 60 Solana in volume, and he was like, yeah, like y'all didn't rug because there's nothing to rug because you don't have any money and blah blah blah. And they had like 70,000, Solana in volume and all this stuff, and they were all talking so much trash about how much volume and how much money was made and stuff like that. But right now their floor price is like 0.01 Sol. The whole thing is actually flagged on Magic Eden, and their creator ran off with every penny. So, so much for those big numbers. These people lost every penny that they invested in it. Some people put $5,000-$10,000 into buying all these NFTs, and now they have nothing. So, um, you know, while we do want to have good numbers, it doesn't mean everything. So I'll say that much too. Like, I think that the sustainable growth, I would rather sacrifice like slower growth in the short term so that in a year from now we can all be much further along and, actually be cashing out CAROT coins and, basically be getting your money back in the form of dividends and interest and stuff like that than to rush through things like Corn Pop said and, um, end up shooting ourselves in the foot. Because I think what happens is people get overwhelmed. They spend they make like $600,000-$700,000 real quick, and then they spend $500,000 on marketing, and then they have no money left, and then the price of Sol crashes in half. That's what happened to the other project. It was like 200 Sol at one point in time, and the dude thought he had all this money, but he was not thinking, about the future. And what ended up happening is the price of Sol crashed, and all of a sudden he didn't have enough money to follow through on his roadmap, and he got overwhelmed and just dipped out. I don't even think he even planned on rugging people, but that's what happens, I think, if you focus too much on like the numbers and the volume and stuff, and you don't focus as much on the plan and the business, because you might lose track of why you're worth something in the first place.
I'll add just one more thing. I know we keep going on this same topic, but you did ask about whether we have any ideas in terms of marketing or if we're going to set aside money, and that's definitely stuff we've talked about and would like to do at some point. But that also speaks to us not trying to be not trying to rush into things and spend money unwisely. There is a lot of marketing opportunities. Like, I get DMs both on Twitter and on Discord about 3 to 4 times a day that are like, "Hey, bro, what's up with your project? Do you need help?" I'm like, "Okay, who are you?" But then they're like, "Well, I have 30,000 followers. I would like to promote you." And then you get to talking to them more. And I try and give, I know, usually I can tell right away, okay, you're trying to get some money out of me for promo. And, I try and be respectful. I try and be nice. But at the end of the day, it all ends the same way. They say they'll send out, 10 tweets and 4 Instagram stories, but won't provide any specific numbers in terms of engagements on those posts, make no promises for that. And that's the sort of thing we're looking into in terms of what's a good place to allocate that money. Like, where should we spend it? And I'm not a marketer, that's not my strong suit. So that's also something we'd like to hear from the community as well. Like, if you've done that, present those ideas, let the community discuss it, bring it to a vote. Um, that's all stuff we'd love to hear. Um, and one more thing on the community I'd like to add was just an example of how it's already working. I think Bobby texted and said, "Hey, what do you think about making the merch exclusive?" And I think I responded, "Yeah, let's do that." And then I don't know if it was Brian. Must have been Brian that was like, "Well, we should use this as an opportunity to put it to a vote." And we did, and the community said, "No, we don't think it should be purely exclusive." Um, so that's the kind of thing. Make those suggestions so we can put that to a vote. We're not always going to be the most knowledgeable on a topic. Like that example shows, I would have cut off the merch. I would have said, let's make it exclusive, make it a whole, club thing. But that's not what everybody wanted. So I'm glad we have that vote. And that just speaks to all of you present these ideas as well. We're listening, and the community will help guide it.
I really love hearing all this. I know that as a member of the community, I've always been feeling super valued. I was wondering if maybe on that note we could open up for questions so people can raise their hand, or I also have the Discord open if anyone wants to message in there, so that way we give the community any more chances they want to ask our founders some questions.
Yeah, if you want to ask a question, in the bottom right, there's like a little heart with a plus sign, and on the right, like there's an emoji to like raise your hand. So if you like do that, or send a little hand emoji or whatever, I can give you permission to speak. And while we're waiting on people to potentially raise their hands or get questions in the Discord, I'll say, I'm really pumped that we are able to host this space on Thursday at the same time. With the DazedDuck community. I mean, those guys have almost like $7 million in volume in just a few short months. So there's a lot that we can learn from them. And I think it's going to be really cool to hear them echo a lot of the same sentiment that we have of things we've discussed tonight. Like, that's why I like them so much, is one of the reasons is whenever I talk to those guys, their co-founders, they are, everything they say, it sounds like I'm talking to myself, because, they're really big on this DAO thing. Like, it's the future of how businesses are going to function. It's so much more efficient than the traditional, like, publicly traded stock way where, who the hell even goes to a shareholder meeting for Apple or Google? Those decisions are not really being made the way they were intended to be made. You know, that stuff gets really complicated, and the average person does not get involved in a company the way that they should. So it's cool to hear the Ducks perspective on this decentralized autonomous organization concept and just kind of things they've done. And, if you guys have questions that I can ask them on that call, I would love to hear it in the Discord, because we're going to have this opportunity to speak with them. And, I want to ask them things like what Rollo said, like, what do we do when our, volume slows down? And, what did you guys do to market your brand? And like, I'm super interested to learn from them. And I think that's one of the cool things about this space too, is that like we can collaborate with these other projects that have experience and can show us the way. And, we're not necessarily competing toe to toe with them, or at least not yet, but, I'd rather, be friendly with them and, work together, because we don't really step on each other's toes, when it comes to building our communities. A lot of our community members overlap. There's obviously a couple duck pictures. I see 3 of them right now, and our Taco Tuesday talk. So, we want to incorporate all of our communities and make everybody feel like we're all part of like a bigger thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's room for everybody, and to be part of one community, there's a bigger ecosystem out there for us to all be a part of. So I think they share, like Brian said, they share such an awesome sentiment, very similar to our vibe, I would call it. I mean, it's more of a let's that's kind of a hippie-ish way to say it, but let's just love. Um, like let's spread around love. Let's build community within our own and within the entire Solana ecosystem, because right now it feels like these are the kind of people, the Ducks and people like us, that are trying to build Solana up into a powerhouse like Ethereum. And I think there's some benefits to the Solana blockchain that Ethereum lacks, and it has a huge amount of potential, but only if the Solana community works together to build it up. And that's one of the things we're trying to do with this, with the DazedDucks.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree about coming together and bringing communities together. It could just be me. This is my opinion. Like, I don't know if this has any, if this holds any water, but I just think like we're in a super interesting time where you have like a few guys um, starting up a company, you know, from their house, and we're in 3 different states, and we don't have like the marketing budget of $100,000, or we don't have a team of influencers, or like Twitter farms. Like, we don't have all that, right? And yet we have over 600 people in our Discord. Like, that to me is like wild. In the bigger picture of when you see, like, when you start comparing, it's like what Brian was saying earlier. You like, the numbers mean nothing, right? But what we've been able to accomplish is crazy right now. Like, it's crazy, because I think in the future, and again, this is like just my opinion, just thinking out loud, but I've thought this for a while, thinking that this is not always going to be this way, right? This isn't always going to be. You're not going to be able to have the ground floor. You're not going to be able to make a vote. Eventually, the projects are going to become so big, so massive. Corporations are going to take over. I mean, there are corporations that are starting to kind of like bleed into the NFT space. Like, Coca-Cola has done it, Adidas has done it, Nike's gonna do it, or they have bought out an entire NFT collection. There's Disney has an NFT collection, Marvel, Capcom. Look at the Vivi app. Like, there's a lot of like big companies that are going to start taking over the NFT game, and I believe that, because that's like with everything. I mean, try starting up a soda company right now. You'll just get smashed by Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Try starting up a computer company right now, even though people enjoy building computers from scratch. But I mean, they're not going to be Apple, or they're not going to be Microsoft. Like, these companies just like are just it's like a monopoly, right? I mean, I think eventually, hopefully not. Like, I don't want to believe that, but money speaks, and that's power. And I think corporations, when they realize how powerful NFTs can possibly be, um, I think we're in a time where this is going to be a small part of history of NFTs, where you'll be able to tell your grandkids, or that you once had held shares to this company before, and you made decisions based on clicking on a thumbs up button, or a thumbs down button. Like, that's crazy to me. It's crazy that this is even possible right now. It's crazy that all of you guys hold something that we put together, and you hardly know us, and you're only. This is how crazy it is that we're seeing rug pulls in real time. Like Brian was mentioning earlier, like, there was a rug pull happening in real time, and you can see, like, you can almost feel the panic in a chat room, if that's even possible, with the way they were messaging each other, and the way they were trying to figure out what the plan is, and who they're going to get in touch with, and what's going on. And we can be saved, Magic Eden will save us. Like, that's exactly what they were saying, and it's crazy. But I think that what we've been able to do is something that we're not going to see again. This is just the beginning, and, like, I mean, I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish at this point. But yeah, I think that you guys, thank you guys, for believing in us and believing this project, and for being here. It's a pretty crazy time.
Yeah, I'll just cap my part of the space off with that. Like, not all NFTs have to take this approach. Like, it's simply a tool. Like, it's like a hammer or a screwdriver. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can use it. Some ways maybe not like the right way. And I hate to see it, but a lot of other NFT projects out there are misusing the technology, or not using it to the full potential. And like what Bobby was saying, like, we're going to see major corporations stepping in here. Just because you buy a Coca-Cola NFT or a Disney NFT doesn't mean they're going to allow you to make major decisions on their brand. So, we're up against some giants in what we're trying to do. And we're not trying to capture, an enormous market share. Like, I'm not thinking that Bobby Rabbits is going to become the next #1 show on Adult Swim overnight, but we're putting up a fight for like a community of just a couple hundred people that came together to do this, and it's really cool to see it. And we are trying to prove to the world and the community and set a good example for like what a DAO community should be and like what it should look like and how it should function. And like, I really want us to succeed, not just for my personal gain, but to basically set an example and say like, hey, look, you can do things the right way and it will work. um, I'm almost more interested in succeeding because I want to prove all these other people wrong that you don't need a $500,000 marketing budget to make a successful NFT project. So I'm just excited about how far we've come with really nothing. Like we probably spent a total of $500-600 on this project to begin with. We did not go out there and pay people off, and none of this is fake. It's all very genuine. It's kind of amazing to see what how far we've come with that, and we've crossed some major barriers. So I think it's we're going to see a lot of really cool bursts of growth in the near future, as we start punching through some of these objectives.
Yeah, I think that's I think that was my point too, like how we were saying about that. But going back to being able to share the space with the Ducks on Thursday, it's kind of bigger than you could, obviously it's more than just saying like, oh, it's bigger for the rabbits to get in touch with the Ducks, for the Ducks to let them share the space. Like, yeah, no doubt, like we understand that, right? That's like on paper it's obvious, but the bigger picture was what I was saying from my point in the beginning was like, we haven't gotten taken over yet, right, by big corporations. So I think it's important, like it's important for communities, for traders, especially traders. Like if Bobby Rabbits didn't go out into other projects and say like, hey, I love this project, you guys should come into it, it's great, the whatever it is that you like about us, like we appreciate that, right? You're pretty much, you're marketing your own company and you're getting more people to buy in. So the fact that the Ducks have done the same thing, we've done that. Like we kind of did that to each other, even though like the Ducks didn't really need it, but like we went in there and we genuinely really liked the vibe. Like what Brian was saying, like they're on the same page that we're on, but we're just on different levels. And I think it's important to realize that we need to come together more. Like you need to see these things happen more, and not just be separate um, communities. It shouldn't be that way because, like I said, eventually, I mean, it would be crazy if like we had eventually merged. Like think of it as merging, because things get too crazy. Companies being bought out. Disney's starting to take over, or whoever's trying to take over the space. We're gonna end up needing each other at the end of the day. So I think it's amazing that I mean, I'm looking forward to Thursday to share that space and hear some ideas, and see where it takes us. Um, and I hope people see it for that reason, not just because like it's something that's going to help our community only, and that's all we care about. I think even if we were to get on the same level as the Ducks, I can see Brian and Tyler and I, reaching out to another group to pull them up too, because it's like it's important to realize that we need each other in this space, and it's not like a versus. Um, because yeah, like hopefully, like I said, like it doesn't become a corporate thing where we end up getting taken over by these big money people, So I'm looking forward to Thursday. I can't wait for it to come, and I hope you guys all can make it too, because it's gonna be dope. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm too. I'm really excited about this. Before we end tonight, I know we did have another exciting giveaway to do. And leading up to this, the Bob Father did a random number generator. And that random number was position number 5. So the 5th person in our space tonight who gets selected for our next giveaway of a custom painted, or I guess hand painted Bobby Rabbit and the corresponding NFT it belongs to is, drumroll, Crypto Kate. You are our winner tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll make sure I message on the Discord. But yeah, I think it's Robbie Rabbit number 344. So I'll connect with you and get your wallet and send you that NFT and figure out where to ship this little painting I did. Um, but yeah, we want to keep doing this type of stuff. I'm hoping we can give something away on every Taco Tuesday to somebody that's in the chat, just to reward the people that, you know, show up to engage. And, you know, I know, you know, I'm even open to doing a Taco Tuesday at a different time sometime, because we got folks that's 4 a.m. where they are right now. So we'll keep working on stuff. But everybody, go make sure you verify if you have a rabbit in the Discord so you can participate in the decision making process. And looking forward to connecting with you guys all in there, and, you know, hopefully seeing a bunch of you on Thursday.
Yeah, totally, guys. Thanks for listening to us chat. And for the questions, like we really appreciate the fact that you guys have questions for us, and you guys have concerns, and you guys want to know what's up. And that's a major, that means that you guys care and that we're doing something right. You know, if you guys didn't have any questions, you guys, that would probably mean that you don't have any faith in us to answer them. So it's good to see questions being asked, and hopefully you guys continue with the questions, and we can hopefully answer them as best as we can.